What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Knicks Deli, baby. I'm the host of Knicks Deli. My name is Sheer, and I wanted to hop on today because I wanted to talk about point guard, legendary point guard, Derrick Rose. So I wanted to really hop on here because it is an end of like a redemption era in New York for Derrick Rose, and I wanted to afford the proper respect by acknowledging him. Let me first start off by saying thank you. I want to thank him. He is a legend. His greatest work was probably the last few years in terms of his contribution to our first return back to the playoffs. He carried us in many ways in that season and in that playoffs. And then his sacrifice this year and last year in terms of taking a step back. Obviously, his skills began to diminish a little bit, and his role did at the same time. But he never stepped away from his responsibility as a mentor. He embraced it by bringing on some of these younger players, by being able to mentor and guide some of the stars that were turning into the primary focus for the team, such as Julius, etc. So that mentorship role is something that he took seriously. He talked about becoming a little bit more vocal in his communication and as a leader. And those are some of the things that come with seasoning and experience and growth in this league and growth as a person. So I want to thank Derrick Rose for that. And just quickly look at his time with the New York Knicks. His initial time he got traded to the New York Knicks, I'm not even going to lie, I was excited when I heard the news. Obviously, he was still probably at the tail end of his prime. He probably was like a year. He was like a year in his prime, like the last year of his prime, I'd say, is when he came to us. But it kind of set me off wrong. I got bad vibes from it because when it was announced, you can go back on YouTube and see his reaction to being traded to the New York Knicks.
He ain't answering. I'm so nervous right now. I don't know why.
Why you want to talk to you?
Yeah. Cause he in New York right now.
Yeah, you just got that last time.
I hope nothing didn't happen. Make you kind of nervous.
All right, Rose interview take 4, marker.
A big separation.
B.J. Armstrong was his agent, and then he called him and broke the news to him. And Derrick Rose was on the phone, and he just broke out crying.
What's up, B?
Alright, so I just talked to Phil. The trade is gonna happen to the Knicks.
You lying?
I ain't bullshit.
You serious?
So I wanna let you know first. So I just talked to Phil. It's gonna happen. Alright? Okay, or you just
Just in awe.
that's what I need you to do.
Yeah.
First, I want you to gather yourself and tell anybody I didn't want it to come from nobody else but you. Alright? It's gonna be an enormous opportunity for you. Okay? Enormous. Man, what I am gonna do is I'm gonna help you navigate all this media. So when it comes out, it's gonna be a huge opportunity.
Alright.
Okay? So you gotta be prepared for it. Okay? It's just a different animal. This is a totally different fucking beast.
Yeah.
This is the fucking back. Okay? Okay? Just call me back.
Alright. It's funny how everything plays out in this business.
He just broke down crying. and he went outside. He went to another room, and he was uncontrollably emotional and sobbing. And as a Knicks fan who was excited to have Derrick Rose come to the team, I took offense to that.
What did he say?
And I was relatively young, and I was probably too young to understand that it wasn't the Knicks and the fact that he was disappointed about coming to our team. And I probably felt that way because we were middling at that time. But it was his connection to his hometown. He was drafted by Chicago. He won his MVP in Chicago. He was the go-to Dandada in Chicago. And for him to be traded probably felt like betrayal. It probably felt it was the first time in his life that he understood that basketball was a business. And he didn't know necessarily how to handle that. And apparently there wasn't many people who could help him through that. So ultimately, that was what was behind his reaction. The other side of it was when he did get to New York, he was joining, I believe, Kristaps Porzingis and or it could have been Amari. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. And Melo. And I remember that infamous quote he had as that said, you know, they're looking at us as the new big three. You know, me, Melo, and I think Kristaps. So he kind of got clowned for that as well. But at least I think that was his way of kind of making up and saying that he's ready to ball out in New York. But then things kind of were up and down, and then he had this mysterious disappearance in the middle of the season where nobody could find him. And it was almost concerning because people was just like, well, we think he went back to Chicago. And we were just like, wait, we heard that announcement before the start of a game. So people were legitimately concerned about his mental health and what's going on with Derrick Rose. And that also was kind of like, yo, what's going on with this dude? You know? But once again, it's a lot to be said about being a professional athlete and being on the biggest stage and you know, knowing when your heart is into something. And then ultimately, I think we traded him, you know, and just how he left New York the first time, it was on a bad foot, you know. So that's one of the things that was just like disappointing, and I held a grudge against him. So when the opportunity came to bring him back, and he was in Minnesota, and Tibbs got hired, I low-key was against it. You know, my biggest thing is if you don't want to play here, don't come here, you know. And when he got here, you know, it was at a time that he was kind of balling out. He had adjusted his game in Minnesota. He had shown that he still had game in the tank, something in the tank. And it's a new start. But the way he really kind of won me over by, he acknowledged the way he left. He recognized and acknowledged the way he left, and he apologized for it. He apologized to Knicks fans. He said, I apologize for the circumstances under which I left the first time. But I'm here to give my all. And he said it at the very beginning. And to me, that showed character. It showed courage. It showed maturity. And it really cleaned the slate for me. And he did nothing short of back up his words ever since. In terms of his mentorship, in terms of his effort, his energy. You know, that run in the playoffs 2 years ago when Juju blacked out, you know, it was awesome. But equally as responsible for the success of that season was Derrick Rose. So with that being said, I just want to thank Derrick Rose. Congratulations on a phenomenal little stint here, redemption stint. And I really hope that you find success wherever else you go. You are a legend in this league. Nobody can tell us any different. And you're A1 in terms of character. A1. So congratulations on the success that you're going to have for the rest of your time in the league and in your career. And we appreciate you, my brother. Shout out to you. This has been Shia, and this is Knicks Deli. Peace.